Okay. Hello, hello. Say hello when you get on. We're gonna get into the grit of it tonight. We're gonna talk about some real stuff, some pretty emotional stuff. Somebody say hi as you jump on so I can make sure that I see comments. I've been having a little issue lately with seeing comments on my lives, and that just makes it no fun at all. So, hi, Brooke, hello. You were the first one to comment. Thank you. I am sharing this with a couple groups, and then we will start. We are going to talk about imperfections, so please share with your team, share with anyone you think this would help. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some things that we have discussed in the last few days and a post that I did I just broke my iPad. Hi, Nanette. Hi, Tanya. Hi, Brittany. Let me get one more thing going here and then I will quit while I'm not ahead. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, I don't know if you guys just heard that noise, but a couple weeks ago, I kept hearing like a meowing all over the house, and I was convinced that a cat had gotten into the house somewhere. I'm looking all over. I had opened the back door. I went back and forth. Hey, Terry. And it was driving me crazy. I was convinced that there was this cat somewhere in our house. It went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. And finally, I realized just a few days ago that my daughter has that Tom app on the iPad, you know, like the Hi Tom, the cat that does all this stuff. And when you don't open it, when you don't pay attention to it, it meows at you to say like, hey, open me up. I seriously thought there was a cat hiding somewhere in my house. So the title, hey everybody, the title is, what did I title? I don't even remember. We're going to talk about perfection. Ashley, yeah, I can't remember what I did 5 minutes ago. I have notes. I'm going to try to stay on track for you. We are going to talk about imperfections, and we're going to talk about failure, and we're going to talk about that feeling of failure. So I am, if you're not with Unique, I'm a Black status leader in my company, and what that means is that's the highest color rank in our company structure. And so I'm in a Black status page and a leader page, and we share ideas and talk about new things that are coming. And I did a post earlier in the week where I talked about having feelings of failure. And thanks, they're so chipped. I need to get them done. Having feelings like sometimes we're not enough, or we're not doing enough, or we're not succeeding enough. And the post had over 100 comments. And every comment was something along the lines of, yeah, me too, or I felt this, or thank you for saying this because I was feeling it too. And these are the top leaders in our company. Some of these people, much more successful teams than I have, saying, yeah, me too. And so I sat there and I thought, gosh, if these women, if over 100 women at the very top of our company are having these feelings of not being good enough or not being successful enough, there's probably a lot more people who are feeling that way, right? And so somebody asked me if I would go live and I would talk about this on my personal page so that they could share it. And so that's what I'm going to do tonight. So if you saw, I posted a little bit ago and I asked about that. Who feels like they're failing at times in life, in work, in your relationships, whatever. And in about an hour, I had over 40 comments already. And one of the people who commented was Shalane Maxfield. And she's the president of our foundation. And this is a woman who invested $6 million of her own money to start a nonprofit to help survivors of sexual abuse. This is a woman who has put into motion something that has helped thousands of women get the treatment that they need and the help they need and the support that they need after experiencing sexual abuse. And she's putting her hand up, yeah, me, I feel like a failure sometimes. Okay, so everybody is feeling that. It's something we're talking about. So give me some hearts or give me a comment below if you yell at your kid. And it's okay, you can be honest. There's no judgment here. Hey, Krista. Krista is a very, very wonderful patient mother. I am not. I will tell you, I'll be the first one to tell you, I yell at my kid. Let me know. I'm seeing a lot of hearts. Who yells at your kids? Let me know. I'll take a water break while I let you respond. Rebecca, Autumn, more than I like, Tracy, yep, Jenny, yeah, me too. Okay, and it's usually at night, Nanette, it's usually at night, it's usually when she's tired. She gets crazy when she's tired. I've always envied, I'll see people who have these kids. My brother has a baby, he's this great baby, and he's that kid who he gets tired, he closes his eyes, and he goes to sleep. That has never, ever, ever been my child. The more tired she gets, the crazier she gets. I mean, jumping up and down, yelling, running in circles. She will go and go and go. And it's usually when I'm tired too, and I melt down and I yell at her. And who feels guilty after they yell at their kids? Always. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer for me to feel guilty. Sometimes I'm really upset. But usually what happens is I yell at her, we have this struggle, she cries, she gets into bed, she falls asleep, and then I go and she's sleeping and she's so cute, and I stand over her and I'm like, oh, she's so cute. She's so precious. Oh, I'm a jerk. Why did I do that? Why did I yell at her? I'm a bad mom. And I think about, I'm seeing hearts. Am I alone here? Are other people feeling this? I'm thinking about when I was 5. My daughter's 5. And I'm thinking about how I only have a few memories still from when I was 5. Only a handful that have stuck. And every time, without fail, what I think is this going to be the thing that she remembers when she gets older? Is she going to remember this moment when I was yelling at her instead of something fun that we did, right? That's mom guilt, right? That's how mom guilt works. Parenting guilt. I know some dads feel this too, right? That's that parenting guilt. I'm not good enough. I lost my temper. I didn't do a good enough job. And we go back and we beat ourselves up over it. So, I started thinking about where this sense of failure comes from. And in every situation I could think of in my own life, I traced it back to fear. Every hang-up about failure I could trace back to fear, right? So it's fear, it's fear of rejection, it's fear of failure. So fear of rejection in relationships, right? You have fear of rejection of your choice of parenting model. I mean, gosh, when I was a new mom, like to keep coming back to these mom analogies, but I'm in a couple moms groups and it's like nursing or formula, and do you use a cover if you breastfeed in public, and do you spank your kid or reprimand them? Are you going to do private school or public school? There's every day, there's more and more and more things to question yourself about, to feel doubt about. Our chief sales officer, Tori, talked about this in the sense of mom guilt today in our live. Hey, Amber. And, so it goes back to that rejection in relationships, whether it's a new relationship or you've been married for 30 years. It's, does he still see me the way that he used to? Are we as happy as we should be? Are we doing enough for each other? Is he doing enough for me? Am I doing enough for him? I mean, that is constant. We have those conversations as women again and again and again. And rejection in our business. And feeling, and especially that feeling of, if you're a parent and someone who is involved in a business as well, you have this issue of balance and feeling like, and I know this was for me, and I saw somebody, I don't know if she's on here, but one of the people who commented on my last post said, I feel like I'm a C- in all things. And that really hit home for me because I remember that feeling, and I've had that feeling since, of not feeling like I'm doing enough as a parent, not feeling like I'm doing enough as a leader, not feeling like I'm doing enough for myself. And you feel like, like she said, I feel like a C- in all things. Where does that feeling of failure come from? Even this, okay, so let's talk about, we'll talk about eyeshadow for a minute, right? Make it a little lighthearted. So I'm wearing the new palette, okay, this is our beautiful new palette. And when it came out, you know what the first thing I heard over and over and over again? I heard this from customers, I heard it from presenters. I mean, look at that, it's beautiful, it's messy because I've been playing with it. But the first thing I heard over and over and over again was, it's scary. It's scary, it's bright colors, it's sparkly, it's scary. I don't know how to do eyeshadow. I don't know how to do makeup. I'm not gonna wear dark like this. This is scary. This is not scary. This is color and pigment. Okay, if you mess up, you take it off and you start over. It is not scary. Thinking about how you're going to get a baby from the inside of your body to the outside of your body, that's scary. Thinking about how you're going to pass a bar exam, that's scary. Thinking about these huge monumental things is scary. This is not scary. This is just eyeshadow, okay? But we get scared. Why? Because we feel like I'm not going to be any good at it, and then somebody's going to judge me, or somebody's going to make fun of me. Somebody did make fun of me. One of the first times that I posted an eyeshadow picture, somebody said, she looks like the poster child for how not to wear makeup. And it hurt, you know, yeah, it hurt then, but I learned. Look at this. I couldn't do this 3 years ago. I didn't own a lipstick 3 years ago. I learned this on the job. It's not scary. And I'm going to talk about how we can kind of get past that feeling of failure and that feeling of rejection that every single one of us has. Okay, so failure for me comes from this belief that somehow the imperfect place that you're in your life, because we're everywhere, every person who's watching this, every person who will watch this, if you're watching this on the replay, drop hashtag replay so I know you watched it. Every single person has a feeling that their life right now is imperfect in some way, okay? And failure comes from the feeling that that imperfect place that you're at in your life is not okay. Okay, and it is completely unrealistic. Elisa just did a training in my team, and she said this, and it was brilliant because it played into what I want to talk about tonight. It is completely unrealistic to expect perfection. I 100% believe that, among other things, part of the reason that our business has been the fastest growing makeup company and the fastest growing direct sales company in the world is because we collectively as a company embrace the idea that perfection is BS, right? It's a joke. It doesn't exist. And it is completely unrealistic to expect that anything has to be perfect, okay? Nothing. My lives are never perfect. I've had Kira run through the background screaming, "I've got to go poop," while I'm on a live. I have had her come in. I did a fundraising live, and she came in because she crawled up on the counter and got into the Pringles she wasn't supposed to touch and cut the roof of her mouth with one and came in sobbing, and I had to leave in the middle of it. Life is not perfect. Nobody's life is perfect. I do not know a single person who has a perfect life. So why do we expect perfection when we put that on ourselves? So how do we do it? How do we deal with it? I'm not going to tell you not to be afraid, because that's not going to work, right? I could sit here and say, okay, just don't be afraid anymore and you're fixed, right? That doesn't work. So what I can tell you to do is to do it scared. And that might seem counterintuitive to you, to think, well, I'm already scared. I can't do anything. I'm already scared. But if you can do it scared and you can embrace the idea that it's gonna be imperfect and that's okay, things get so much easier. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of backstory about me, and this is not an easy thing for me to do on a live video where anyone in the world can watch it, but this was the mindset shift for me. You know, some people know, some don't, that I have had fertility issues as far as having children. And when I was trying to get pregnant with Kira, I had a miscarriage. And then I had a second miscarriage. And I went in and they couldn't find a heartbeat. And then I got pregnant with Kira. And I was thinking, oh, not again. I can't go through this again. And they were able to find it. They figured out that at that time I had a blood disorder. I had a high-risk pregnancy. I went through some stuff, but I had a really, really easy pregnancy after that. Cut out on me for a second. I had 9 months of pretty an easy time with her. You know, I was on the treadmill 3 days before she was born. And then I went into labor. And she almost did not make it. And, you know, I was at this point where I'd gone through all this stuff, and I'm in labor, and my baby almost died during delivery. And she was born non-responsive, and we had a NICU team there, and we spent 10 days in the hospital, and there were all sorts of events that occurred after that kept those first few months pretty crazy for us. And she had 3 surgeries, and she had a kidney infection, and we had all kinds of treatments, and I had horrible postpartum depression, and I was scared of everything in my life. And then we ended up at the ER one night, and it was a Friday night in LA. You don't want to be in the ER. It's not somewhere you want to be. And her dad was out of town for work, and my family doesn't live here. It was just me. And so I took her in to the ER, and she wasn't responding to me. She was just limp and kind of lifeless, and she kept throwing up, but she wasn't crying or anything. And she had an infection all through her body, and I didn't know at the time. And so I'm in the ER by myself till like 4 a.m. There's a gunshot victim that comes in next to us. There's blood. There's a trail of blood on the floor at the ER in UCLA. And I did what a lot of people do when they're in really dire circumstances, and I was praying. And I felt so lost and alone. And I said, if we can just get through this, if I can just get to a better place, I'll start saying yes. And the reason I said that is because I was going through a lot of things in my life where I was scared. I was operating scared. I wasn't happy in my job, but it was safe. And I had some trouble with things in my life, but it was safe. And my daughter was sick, but I just kind of kept operating. I kept going, scared, and I was backing away from all these things that I knew could be a change for me, but I was afraid. And so I said, I'll say yes. I'll say yes. And I'm getting carried away, so I'm getting away from my notes. And I made a promise to myself from there on out that if something scared me, I had to say yes to it. I had to force myself to do it. And that's how I ended up in this business. This scared me. I didn't know anything about makeup. I didn't know anything about sales. It scared me, but I was excited at the fact that it scared me, so I said yes. I said no for a while. I said no for a few months. My sponsor will tell you, but finally I said yes. I thought, why not? Okay, let's try something new. Let's try something scary. And I've had a lot of success. I've had a lot of success in this business, and I'm extremely, extremely grateful for that success. Thanks, Krista. I love you. But I still have those times where I feel like I'm failing. And what I said when I posted in the leader page is I said, my strengths are my enemies too. Okay, and I think there might be a lot of you that feel this way. My strengths, the things that make me good at this, the things that make me successful, the things that make me happy, are also my enemies. So I'm sensitive. Okay, so it makes me really good at building relationships in a relationship building business, but it also means that I get hurt easily. It also means that I put myself in situations where I let things affect me more than they should. And I'm competitive, and being competitive has let me have this huge success, but it also means that I never feel quite good enough, and I'm always struggling with that. Am I good enough for this? Am I doing the right thing? I'm smart. And it's still, see, and this is our hang-ups at play. I'm still like, feel weird saying I'm smart on a live video. And I was a lawyer. Like, I could say that, right? That's okay. I'm smart. But that means that I overanalyze everything to death, and I think it and rethink it, and I'll read into things, and I'll get into my head about stuff that is completely unnecessary, and it doesn't serve me, and it doesn't serve anybody. So, I'll give you an example, and I used Krista as an example in my post, and I'll use myself as an example. And, Krista pushed for the top of the company a lot of times before she hit it. And she failed forward, as she says. She pushed and she failed, and she pushed and she failed, and she kept growing from that. And, I came on live in April and said I was running for Black Status 1, and we narrowly missed it. We narrowly missed it in March. We narrowly missed it in April. And we felt this fear, Krista has felt this, and I felt this fear of, I don't want to put it out there again. I don't want to say that I'm doing that again, because what if I say it and I fall short again? What if I say it and I fail? You know, and I know there's so many of you who feel like that. I don't want to claim this promotion because what if I claim it and I fail? I don't want to seek more in my relationship because what if I go for that and I can't get it? What if I find that I'm not worthy of that I don't deserve it, right? But who are we letting down? No one else thinks of that as a failure. It's only us. We do that to us. Who else cares? Who else cares if I say I'm going for Black Status 1 and I don't hit it? Who cares? No one. Me. That's it. That's it. That's the pressure that we put on ourselves, but we feel this weight. Like someone else is expecting something of us, and then we get into our head and we start to question ourselves. And you know, Krista said this, and I forgot the quote when I was posting the other night, so I wrote it down now so I won't forget it. But it was such an aha moment when she said it, and Krista said, you know, if failure isn't an option, then neither is success. Okay, I say that again. If failure is not an option, then neither is success. Right? If you're afraid to fail, you're never going to grow. You're never going to be able to move forward. And it's not easy. Like, I will tell you, it is not easy for me to sit here on a video and talk about my shortcomings, to talk about my weaknesses, to talk about my insecurities. That is not an easy, I don't think that's an easy thing for anybody to do. But I do it because this helps me get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's how I get to a place where I can grow. Okay, and that's what you have to do. That's what you have to do to get past that place where you feel like a failure, is to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So, you know, for me, that's why I said do it scared in the beginning. Do it scared. Get comfortable with that fact that you're scared. And you can grow through that. So that's why I post about my fears. That's why, oh, I love you too, Shelby. That's why I post about my insecurities. That's why I tell you stuff that I'm not that comfortable talking about on a video, is because I don't want you to look at me. And I've had people say this to me. And I get this, you know, when I go to events for my business, when I post in pages, when I talk to my team, I have people come up and they're like, oh, I'm so excited to meet you. I can't believe this is like, I'm like a fangirl right now. And I don't say that with any sense of ego. I say that because when somebody says that to me, I'm like, that's not me. That's not me. This is me in my messy bedroom where I didn't put makeup on until 7 o'clock at night to do this video. And I'm the person who struggles with not feeling like I'm good enough. I'm the person who struggles with not knowing if I really know what I'm doing with my makeup. I'm the person who looks at other people on my team and thinks, well, she sells better than I do, or she sponsors better than I do, or she's a better leader than I am, or she's more creative than I am, or her backdrop is way better than what I've got going now. And I share that with you because I don't want you to look at me and think, man, she's got it good. I could never do what she's doing. I could never be where she is. I want you to look at me and see that I have every hang up, maybe more, than you do. Okay? And I fail forward and I succeed through that. So I want to give you a task, and I'd love for you to do it in the comments. If you're scared to do it in the comments, it's okay. I will understand. But I want you to think about something that you're not. I want you to think about something that you feel you're not. You know, so we talked about I'm not good enough is something that I'll say I'm not a good enough leader is something that has, you know, a failure that has crept into my mind lately. And what I want you to do is write it down. And you can either comment it here. If you don't want to comment it here, write it down on a piece of paper for yourself. And instead of that I'm not, I want you to put I am. Okay? I am a good enough leader. Whatever that is, whatever that thing is that's eating at you right now, I am a good enough mother. I am worthy, whatever it is. And I want you to have that in front of you, somewhere where you can see it, and I want you to say it to yourself every day for the next 30 days, okay? Say it to yourself every day till Christmas. And I had somebody do this for me a couple years ago, and this was, you know, early on in my journey where I still felt like personal development was pretty cheesy. And they said, all right, I want you to write down your I am statements. I am, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm like, I'm not doing this. This is stupid. And I did it because I had to, because I was in a seminar. And they said, okay, go home and look in the mirror and read it to yourself. And I did it, and I thought it was stupid, and I sat there in the mirror and I started to read it, and I started crying. And I started crying when I read it because I realized how deeply I didn't believe it. And I said it. And I said it over and over and over again until I got to a place where I could believe it. And for those of you who are maybe where I was, who are sitting there thinking like, okay, that's like fluff, it's stupid, Google it. There is science behind this, okay? This is the way that your pathways of your brain work. There's scientific basis to how this will change your mindset, and what we think becomes our reality, right? And our reality becomes our life. And I love this. I'm seeing them come through. I'm a good leader and I'm a good mom. That's awesome, Lauren. Okay, so, I watched it, and there's a great video. If you want more on this, there's a great video by Brene Brown. It's a TED Talk. It's called The Power of Vulnerability. I actually watched it again right before I came on here to do this video. And, she talks about this studying. She spent 6 years she calls herself a storyteller researcher. She spent 6 years studying the difference between people who felt a sense of love and belonging and people who did not. And she said, she put them into two groups, and she started analyzing the differences. And the only difference between that group of people that had a strong sense of love and belonging from others and the people who didn't was that the people who had a strong sense of love and belonging felt that they were worthy of that love and belonging. Okay? I am worthy. If you don't know what to write on your I am statement, write that. I am worthy of love. I am worthy of this goal. And something that helps me, something that I do is, think of the person whose respect means the most to you in your life, the person you love. So for me, the person whose respect and admiration means the most to me in my life is my daughter, is Kira. And maybe for you, it's someone on your team. Maybe it's your partner. Maybe it's your child. Maybe it is someone at your job. And whoever that is, I want you to think about that person. And I want you to think about the fact that they are watching you. Okay? And if this is somebody who's looking at you in a role model capacity, they are watching you all the time. And if you don't believe, if you as a parent, if you as a leader, if you as a family member don't believe that you can soar, then how on earth do you expect them to believe that they can soar? Okay? Whenever I feel like I'm not enough in some way, I remember that Kira is watching me. And if she sees me thinking that I'm not good enough, how am I ever going to teach her that she can believe in herself, that she can believe that she is good enough? So I'm not asking anybody to be perfect, quite the opposite. I think no one expects any of us to be perfect, and if someone is putting expectations on you of perfection, that comes from their own limiting beliefs and not yours. What I want you to try to do for the rest of this week and through this holiday season is embrace the fact that we are imperfect, very imperfect, and worthy nonetheless. So thanks everybody. Have a great night.